Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of More Than a Business Live. My name is Mitch Case. I am your host, and I am also the founder and CEO of More Than a Meal, where we get to work with organizations like yours to help you engage with your most valued relationships by showing gratitude and appreciation one meal at a time. One of the reasons that we started this was just the ability to really highlight individuals and organizations that are truly caring for their team members and really truly makes their business more than a business. And a company that has really kind of dove in and believes what we talk about and has loved this show is True Captive, which you saw is a sponsor of this show. So they're somebody that believes in healthcare that is personal and insurance that is not complicated. And I adore the organization and the ownership of this organization. So if you're ever interested in exploring what that might look like, I highly encourage you to go check out True Captive. You can find them on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, or you can just go to their website at truecaptive.com. So we're greatly appreciative of the True Captive team being a part of this. And one of the other things that I'm really, really excited about is I've had the opportunity to speak with our next guest multiple times. And every time we get together, it's a very warm conversation. And he has been somebody that even in the short amount of conversations that we've had just in his own personal faith, it really, really inspires me and drives me. So I am really, really excited to introduce to you Brent. He is the CEO over at Midwest Laboratories, and he's committed to delivering his best effort at work daily, driven by his passion for teaching effective leadership. And as a person of faith, he uplifts and coaches individuals, leading with genuine care and achieving success through a prioritized focus on people, processes, and technology. His transformative journey has actually reinforced his belief that true leaders must introspectively discover their genuine identities. And he is actually an author, which we're definitely going to be talking about, his book, Leaders Look Within, which emphasizes leading with courage and heart as one of the only ways to effectively guide others. So I could not be more excited to introduce to you Mr. Brent Pohlman. Welcome to the show, Brent. How's it going, man?
Very good, Mitch. It's
Awesome.
great.
Hey, I love starting this off with just a quick impact story. So we're going to dive right into it, and then we'll get to the rest in a little bit. But maybe share with us a personal story on maybe the efforts that you or your company has had that has truly impacted a team member or the community that you get to serve.
I think I just want to say I'm so lucky as a leader of a great organization that our employees really come together and serve and live from their hearts. And I'll never forget one of the things that when we started saying, how can we serve our community better? For years, maybe we were like other companies where we would give to a certain company. I'm not going to name names, but all that money, all that those donations would go, and then it was said it was spread around the city. And I'll never forget one meeting I was in. There was just silence, and all of a sudden, I could see the looks. I said, "What do you guys want to do here?" And they said, "Well, we'd really like to take this back and own it ourselves." And I thought, "Wow, how profound!" I said, that's what giving is all about, is that you own it and that you want to do it again it means something. It's not just something where we're collecting money or we're collecting donations, but actually, oh, I want to learn it. And so through that process, we've built our own community giving program internally,
Oh,
and
wow.
it's been a massive for the last 3 years. People can take days off to go and volunteer around our city, and we do all kinds of events. We service one of our main goals is let's service our employees that work here. If there's needs that if our own people, our own family, let's make sure that they're taken care of too as part of this process. So we do that first. We look to our community, and we're just growing this. We're on the early stages of this, 3 to 4 years, but I really like that it comes from everyone wants to own something. And the result of that, like, I don't know about where you live, but school just started this week.
Yeah.
Everywhere
A
here.
lot of people are getting started.
We collected more school supplies and backpacks than we ever have in the history of our company, because I think people know that this means something. I have my own kids. I want to do something for others who don't have enough. And it's just building this culture of giving. And I think companies that do that and take it and own it themselves will
Yeah.
see that they get everybody on board with that.
So one of the things that I've heard a lot of is like you can implement these strategies, you can want to do these things within your organization, but if it's not led by example, nobody else is going to follow. So that just tells me, just as like, it's no surprise that the conversations that we've already had, that is the case, but it just really shows me at how much you lead to help show that path. And I know from our conversation, I know that Midwest Laboratories is a generational business, and so that has likely kind of started, I'm assuming, from when you took over the business as well, and many generations maybe before. I don't remember how many generations you had mentioned before, but it just interests me that as how much of a leader you can be by just showing by example. Otherwise, all of it falls apart.
It does. And you're absolutely right. It has to be consistent, and it has to, and again, you really have to have some people that take charge and have a committee that meet regularly, that push it through. And I just support it. I want the employees to really run it and take it over. And we every month we have a town hall, and we talk about updates on it as part of our whole business, as part of who we are and what we do here. So, no, I think it's the best way. I really do think it, and it does. In the early stages, it took a little time to get going, and we're still working through. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's so much better. I really like when people can get involved with it and see the impact that they're making.
So you mentioned like this was team member led. They said this was something that they wanted to do. What do you think? I don't know if you can pinpoint it, or maybe you can. Like, what has led them to feel empowered to just take charge of something and just implement it and run with it? You just said like you just get to be a part of it. You're kind of watching it from not the sideline. You're in the game with it too. But what do you think it is, like, whether it's from your own leadership or within certain things that have been instilled throughout the organization that have led to your team members feeling empowered enough to say, we want this?
Well, I think as part of a leader, you have to, in my case, I really had to learn to get out of the day-to-day stuff. So not only just we're talking about this community giving, but as an operation overall, you got to trust your people. If you can't trust your people, that's really hard. Or if you're the person always having to make the final decision, or in everything that you do, you can be the roadblock sometimes with that. So you really have to trust your people. And again, that's that culture, and that's really started with people first. And and you talked about it, people first, your processes to make sure everything's consistent, and put technology with that. And when you do it in that order, and in my mind, it always has to come in that order. Then it really does. You will move the ball forward, and you'll bring others along, and that's so critical. It's not about me. I think a lot of leaders get caught up. It's about me, or I have really tried to just say, instill that, hey, if you want this, show me what you need. Let's talk about it some more. Now, I don't agree with everything. Everyone knows that. But absolutely, I think we're developing leaders every single day, and we're seeing the trust and the confidence that people have in the culture and what it's doing, and how we're growing. And they see the results and the numbers. The numbers don't lie.
Yeah. I think I've always said this, and I know I'm stealing the saying, but like the biggest compliment I can ever receive is what somebody says behind my back. Just being outside of that room and having somebody come in and talk about that. And that just, again, goes back to building that trust from the initial get-go, and creating a place where people do feel safe. So kind of helps kind of segue into this next portion where we're typically talking about like what truly makes Midwest Laboratories more than a business. And I want you to dive into that, but I also want to have some time to talk about your book through this as well. So maybe give us a little bit on maybe some ideas or things that you guys have initiated within the organization that truly makes you feel that Midwest Laboratories is truly more than a business.
Yeah, I believe it starts, you have to have a strong mission and vision and core values. And we go through that every single month. So it's not something that's in a bookcase or it's in a cupboard someplace, but it's live and it's real. And so people know where you're at. I will say the leadership, you have to bring your A game every single day. You have to walk in. If I walk in with a frown and I walk in like puzzled or ticked off, People pick up on those things.
Yeah.
And, and people want to know where the company is going all the time. And so you've got to always be, again, as a visionary for the company. Hey, this is where we want to go. Hey, I think we need to go in this direction. You need help with that piece. And that's where your people come in. But definitely you got to create that momentum every single day. And I do feel very fortunate. I do have some wonderful people here. I think so. Employee wise, you got to, people come first. Client wise, we have great client service. Some of the things from our past, we're right at 48 years, almost 50 years. We've been in business. I'm a second generation owner, and my father started the company, and he always said, make sure you have a live voice. And we've always had that with the phone. If you dial the main number, you get a live voice. We'll never have any number system, no whatsoever, push 1, push 2, push 3.
Yeah.
You have a live voice every single time. When you walk in the door, when somebody walks in the door, you're greeted by somebody immediately. That interaction with people is so critical. And
that's such an interesting, we always talk about like culture is not just about a department or one person. It's about every single person, all the way down to how the phone is literally being answered, whether it's a person or a robot that is answering. Like, I've never thought about that, but that can definitely play on the experience of anybody that comes through from a client perspective, or even a team member trying to get a hold of another team member.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
We've added account managers who watch over the accounts, who have to make so many phone calls a day, following samples that are here, samples that are coming. But yes, customer attention to customer details, having communications, it's so critical. Trade shows, we do about 70 trade shows. We want to be there in person.
70
a year. So
wow.
we go where the people are and make sure that they see who they're talking to and get to me. There's nothing more powerful when someone comes up to you. Oh my gosh, I've been talking to you for a year and it's great to see you.
Absolutely. Could not agree more. And it's such a joy when you actually get to see that person face to face and that general reaction or feel. Wow. 70 trade shows, huh?
Yeah.
That's more than one a week, man.
It's a lot. Yes, it is a lot. So
I like that. We just experienced one of our first really, really successful ones. And I can tell you we've already signed up for a few more. So I can see the power that does. But I love that it was not necessarily about, obviously there is hopefully new clients that can kind of come from that, but allowing your existing clients and your team members to have that face-to-face interaction, which maybe they don't always get. So the purpose behind that, maybe not necessarily just new business, but solidifying and humanizing the business that you already do.
Absolutely. We have some clients that have been with us since we started in 1975. So, I mean, it takes a lot to, you have to have those type of clients that would stay with you all through thick and thin, all the time, consistency, always communicated to. And I'm not going to say that we've done it right. Again, you go through waves, but we really have an intentionality towards really keeping in close contact with clients.
Okay. Wow. I absolutely love that. Well, let's kind of transition over to your book, Leaders Look Within. Obviously we want to know, like, why, what inspired you to do this? And, what is something that, if we were to sit down and read through this, what are some things that we're going to get out of that we can potentially apply to, obviously this show is really focused on how can I make the business that I work at or own or serve more than a business. So how can that book kind of apply to that? So give us a little bit about why you got started on that.
Oh, sure. I don't know about you, but I probably have, and if you looked behind me, I probably have about 500 management or leadership books. I've never found the exact book that really, maybe I get a point here, a point there, some really good, there are some really good authors, but I've never really found a book that totally resonates with me, especially on the leadership side. Leadership is different, obviously, than management. And so I kind of set out to first write a book about leadership, but I didn't know how to do that. So I worked with a ghostwriter, and I had about 30 themes. He helped me kind of condense it down to a few.
Yeah.
And they said through this whole process, make sure that you don't let anybody read it till you're all the way done. So it took a year. I'm almost all the way done. I hand it over to my wife. She reads it. She goes, "This isn't you." And I was like,
no. Oh,
that,
no.
that was a hard hit, but she was totally right, because I debated during that time whether to put a faith component into the book or not. And she
Mm,
says, it was at that time I said, okay, I have to put my values, I have to put something of substance, who I am in here, or it's not
yeah.
going to make any sense. So I
Yeah.
rewrote the book, took me another year, rewrote it. And my wife read it and she goes, yeah, this is much better. This is who you
Wow.
are. So going through that process, I think what it really showed me is that the values and the structure, everything that you have is inside of you. And it's different for every person. Leadership is so personalized. And that's what that you have to find it yourself in your heart in order to lead effectively. You have to discover that for yourself. And that's what I
Yeah.
had to do for the last 4 or 5 years. My book is not a self-help book. It's not a 10-step, do these 10 things and you'll be an effective leader. It's really my story about this is where I had to go through these things, and maybe one or two of these things will resonate with you, but you have to find it yourself. That was my
Yeah.
message. You have to find it yourself.
Well, I mean, I'll say it because I think you're too humble of a person, but somebody with the success that you've had on the business side, and then just your the strength you have in your own personal faith, definitely comes through in every single conversation. So, I mean, arguably, you seem like the right person to be writing that book, to be able to maybe pull a few nuggets of wisdom out from just your experience and leading an organization that's been around for almost 50 years now. Like that doesn't happen just with the snap of a finger. So I definitely like that. So how, and obviously like applying that, but how would somebody get a hold of your book? I mean, are you willing to host some speaking events around that? Like, what are some ways that people can actually learn and apply from what you've presented?
Yeah, if you search my name or Leaders Look Within on Amazon, you'll go right directly. You can buy it online. I'm in the process of also hopefully by the end of the month, beginning of next month, I should have an audiobook as well. Right now
I
it's
got.
only
Are you going to read it?
yes,
All
yes.
right. I always love that.
So that's another feature that's coming from the book. I have started to give a few presentations locally.
Okay.
I do have one scheduled out of state next year. Um, and I guess my thing is, right now I'm so focused. I'm very busy at work. I will just say that I don't have time to go on probably a tour. And thankfully the book is not 100% of my income at this point. I really like coming in every single day. I think we talked about this, but in the book, you have to find your own why. I mean, I did not have a why for a long time,
Yeah.
and I didn't even realize I didn't. Went to work, I did my job, I worked hard, I thought I'd move up, but it wasn't the strong conviction. And
Mm,
my why and how is I'm a person of faith who coaches people up and leads from the heart. And when you have that and you say it every single day and you believe it, it's transforming. It really is. And you work every single day. I have a daily routine. I get outside, I work out. I have to take care of myself first, because if I'm going to if we're going to work with others, I better be. And I wasn't for years. I didn't take care of myself. So how could I take care of others if I don't take care of my own self? I,
yeah.
I thought self-care was selfish for the longest time, but it's actually, you actually need it in order to be
Yes. Yeah. I
effective.
mean, I just had a coffee with a gentleman this morning. We were talking about he had a former business, and he just said, I no longer had anything in my cup to pour into others. So I had to make some changes because you can't pour from something that's empty. So I get that completely. Well, let's kind of transition a little bit into like back to the business side with Midwest Laboratories. Like, what motivates you to like show up every single day? Because I know every single day you're not just skipping through and you so excited because everything is perfect. I know there's going to be some challenges, obviously, running through that. So, what continues to motivate you to show up and lead the people that you get to lead?
Yeah. So our project or analysis, we do analysis in three verticals: human health, animal health, and agriculture and environmental. We're a production lab, so we get lots of samples in. We do tests and we get results out in 3 to 5 days. When I
Okay.
say lots of samples, in the fall we'll get anywhere from 20 to 40,000 soils a day, and
That
so
blows my mind.
it's a lot of dirt. That's a lot of soil, but
Yes.
we know farmers and growers are relying on those results to do other applications, other management decisions. Pet food, on the pet food side, we get about 1,500 to 2,000 samples a day. So all the pet food, all those pets, that the pet industry is just always growing leaps and bounds.
For sure.
There's a lot of work there with formulations, with analyzing product before it goes to market, vitamins, pesticides, you name it. So I get very excited. You can tell I'm very competitive too.
Hey, I know we talked Chiefs a little bit ago. So yeah, absolutely.
So we are growing. We're busting at the seams. We're in the process of moving, relocating our whole 14 buildings we're in right now into one. And
Wow.
yeah, we bought a building during COVID, and it's 176,000 square foot. It's probably the largest single story building in the state of Nebraska. And it's
Okay.
27 acres. And that's what I come every day. We're trying to get to that place because, again, we're bursting at the seams. I believe our employees are excited about the move and excited to continue this growth. And I want them aboard too, obviously.
Yeah.
The other thing I'll say about our employees too, and I think that's as critical of a leader, all of our employees, they have their own families, they have their own dreams, and I want them to have their own dreams. I see this to them all the time, but they have to have their own dreams. They have to have things outside of work. We're one piece of it, and it's a huge responsibility as a business to provide for these families, but you got to have your own dreams. I encourage people to always look out for themselves and make sure you're getting your dreams, you're having your families, your kids, your businesses, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Dreams. Go for your dreams.
That is just like, it's so profound in that. And I just recently kind of posted, I had a challenging time early in my career where I valued money in an unhealthy way, where I thought that was my value and my worth. And, just over the last few years, kind of overcoming that, realizing like, no, that I'm more than the business I own or serve. Like that's a small piece. So I've always tried, like it's still a work in practice, but somebody was like, hey, what do you do? And I'm like, well, I'm actually I father 3 young children, and it's hard. It is crazy hard. But if you're asking what I do for work, that's a piece of my life, but it's not my life. So trying to like, and just having a leader like yourself on that, just kind of implementing it and making sure your team knows from your perspective that you expect that of them. I think that speaks volumes. So kudos to you on that end. All right. Well, we are kind of nearing the end of the show here, Brent. And one of the things that we like to do just for your willingness to come on the show and spend time with us and maybe share some of your leadership skills in your book and ways that we can apply that with our own lives. But my business, More Than a Meal, likes to allow you to gift a meal to anybody that you would like. So maybe tell us who that might be and why you'd like to donate that.
Yeah, we're in Omaha. You're in Kansas City. I have a love for Kansas City. I think what you're doing is great. I would like to take what you're offering. I've never even been on a broadcast like this where someone offers something like that. I would, if you've got somebody in mind, if you've got a charity in mind, I would gladly like to donate it to somebody in the local Kansas City area. So if we could do that would be awesome.
That is very generous of you. We do actually serve a nonprofit here in the Kansas City area called the Single Mom KC. It's a faith-based organization, and they are just loving on those single mothers that go through challenging times. And I continue to talk with many of my friends as I just don't know how single mothers can do it. But I do believe that they have a very, very high seat if and when they cross over here. So I would be very, very happy to let them know that you've chosen to actually add that to their bank where they can send that out to a local mother that maybe needs a little bit of help right now. So I greatly appreciate that. And I'll make sure to make that email intro to let them know that that is the case from your side. I know you don't want that praise by any means, but I'll definitely make that happen. So definitely appreciate that. Brent, thank you so much. So if somebody wanted to get a hold of you, maybe hear more from your leadership perspective, your book, maybe even learn more about Midwest Laboratories, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Absolutely. On the company side, midwestlabs.com. You can find us on LinkedIn. You can again, connect with me on LinkedIn. It's a great place. It's probably my favorite place for a connection. My book site is ceoofyourheart.com. And I can't thank you enough. And that company that we're providing this meal for just fits right in with our values. We feel so blessed. We have 280 employees here, and I think this year alone we have had, I want to say, 29 babies. So families here. So I know that single moms, that's just huge. So it fits right in with what we're trying to do here. So thank you for that opportunity to, again, I'm glad that we can help out in some way. And that's wonderful.
Very generous, Brent. Well, if anybody else is interested, I'm happy to make an introduction to Brent through just my own LinkedIn or email as well. So Brent, thank you so much for coming on this show. I greatly appreciate just the work that you do, and by leading by example, and just best of luck to you with the book and making sure that you continue that amazing organization that you've got there. All right. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and kick you out of here, Brent. I appreciate you coming on, but our next show again is going to be a Thursday at 3 p.m. We're going to have Christine Eccles come on here. I'm really, really excited from her perspective, just managing. I mean this in the most literal sense, managing a zoo, not a zoo of individuals, but with animals. So it's going to be really interesting just kind of hear her perspective, as she probably has a lot of younger individuals coming up through the ranks here, and having that component. So greatly appreciative of Brent again coming on here and just giving his perspective on all of this, and looking forward to see you guys next week again, 3 o'clock on Thursday. And until next time, have a wonderful day.